Hi, hello everyone. Hi. How's it going? I wanted to go live. I've been trying to get on live. I would like to go live at night. It's kind of like I'm a night person anyway, but I am, a mom of kids and my husband works very, very early, so I kind of do all the mom stuff at night. So it is a little tricky. I can't guarantee any time frames, but I did want to come live here today. I'm just going to be hanging out doing first, I will be covering some of the key points from Candace Owens live yesterday and just one bit from the day prior because I didn't touch on that yesterday either. And then I do also want to touch on some of Baron Coleman and Ian's live stream last night also. um, Bear with me here. And then what I'm gonna do, because this might be really long, if you wanna hang out and chat, by all means. If not, then I'll be here talking to myself, and that's fine too. And then what I'll do after the fact is I'm gonna take this live stream, and I will go ahead and cut it up into bits so people can watch it as regular videos, so you don't have to feel like you need to, um, watch the whole thing because 'cause it'll probably be pretty long. I'm kinda just treating this like a let's, like, kind of cover what happened yesterday, but then just do some like real time research on a few things that I wanted to look at. So, first thing I wanted to touch base on was Candace's live yesterday. There's been a lot of interesting stuff that she's been bringing up. So, the first thing I'm going to let me just see here because, okay. All right, let me bring this up here. The first thing I want this first segment where she's talking about where Tyler Robinson was um, after the Charlie Kirk assassination. So let's get this pulled up here. I do think this is interesting. This, I think, just goes more, it touches more on the whole what is the FBI doing? We had the live stream on X um the other week where Harrison essentially confirmed that he had posted that he had been notified 2 weeks prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination that Charlie Kirk's life was in danger, and yet the FBI has not reached out to him. He confirmed that. And then here we have another situation where individuals were eyewitnesses to Tyler Robinson, the day of, and they also have not been reached out to. So I think that's important. I think we should take a look at it. And there was another thing I wanted to try to find after as well. So let me get this part queued up here. Okay.
All right, you guys, before we get into this craziness, I want to tell you that this episode is being brought to work with, and Mimi is one that I actually use. The thought of what he had just done for the very first time might have made him physically ill. Like we would expect him to make.
Okay, so she's talking about the fact that he supposedly went to Dairy Queen after, and then now she's just bringing up how, for the most part, I would think that if someone like an average Joe took a life, you probably are not feeling, really hungry. You're probably thinking about some other stuff. So that's what she's talking about here. So let's see what she has come out with
to
as
maybe
of now.
Lose his lunch, not exactly pop over to a nearby Dairy Queen to have lunch, calmly texting his lover, which is why I was very surprised to learn of what Tyler Robinson did thereafter. Ready? Tyler Robinson, we can exclusively confirm to you all, 3 hours away from Orem, Utah, down to Panguitch, Utah. I hope I'm saying that right. A lot of the cities sound weird. I think it's Panguitch, Utah. I'm showing you a map of that distance. It is just under 3 hours to get there. And what was he doing there? You're probably wondering, did he meet up with somebody? No, he was alone. And what we can tell you that he did when he got there was that he pulled into the Cowboys Smokehouse on North Main Street. He grabbed himself a seat at the bar at this steakhouse, and he ordered himself some more food. Specifically, Tyler Robinson ordered a steak, medium rare, with mashed potatoes and vegetables. There were 3 servers that were working that night. And then after news exploded the following day, and people began obsessively sharing, of course, the photo of the suspect, Tyler Robinson, having been captured after 33 hours. Well, one of the servers recognized him as the person that was sitting at the bar the night before. So they decided to huddle up with management and said, no, that person, Tyler Robinson, he was here. He was eating a steak. He was eating mashed potatoes. Management said, are you sure? Are you positive that Tyler Robinson said, yes, I'm absolutely sure. Well, they don't have any cameras at this restaurant. So what they decided to do was to verify that he was in the building, not by, of course, consulting outdoor video footage, which they didn't have access to, but rather just looking through credit card charges. Because Tyler Robinson, despite telling his roommate how he wanted to get away with this, remember the messages and like, oh, here's anybody to know, make sure you delete this letter that's under the keyboard, but take a picture of it before you delete it, but read it and then destroy it. He's trying to get away with this crime. Well, he used his credit card. That's how they found it.
So obviously this is interesting information to know that he went to another restaurant 3 hours later. What I was hoping to look into, and I don't know if anyone remembers this, and if you do, chime in. Does anyone remember shortly after everything happened? And I'm trying to find it. There was video footage that there was video footage I saw on YouTube that someone claimed that Tyler Robinson was driving around a parking lot. Do we remember this? I'm trying to look it up right now. Let me see if I can pull up another screen because I'm trying to find that and I'm not finding it. I'm looking on my phone here. Let me see. Oops. Okay. So when I'm looking this up, let me share this so that someone can see. So when I'm looking this up, I just keep finding this like car accident situation. I think this was like a car accident. I don't know if you guys remember that went out, that was like going around for a little while. But I swear I watched a video where it was like, it must have been CCTV footage from like a business, and it showed him like circling a parking lot. Do we remember this? I really hope someone does and maybe we can find it. While I was just looking on my phone, I did see something else here that I wanted to look at, but I don't think it was it. This one here. What's this one?
New details emerging in the shooting that led to the death of conservative Kirk. He was killed while on a speaking tour at a Utah college campus September 10th, and it set off a massive 33-hour manhunt for the shooter, which ended when Tyler Robinson turned himself in after talking to his family. Senior national investigative correspondent Lori Jane Gliha is live now with us with new video showing the alleged shooter after the attack, and this is exclusive to Scripps News. So Lori Jane, what do we see in this video?
Yeah, Maritza, we just got this video. It is grainy, but according to police, it shows Tyler James Robinson, the man charged with shooting Charlie Kirk, at a gas station the day after the shooting.
See, this is not it, but I don't remember
Cedar
this.
City Police in Utah released this footage to Scripps News showing the man charged with killing Charlie Kirk, Tyler James Robinson, filling up his vehicle at a gas station the morning after the shooting. According to the police report, he pulls up in a gray Dodge Charger to pump 11 and fills up. Police, following his moves, were asked to investigate whether he dumped any evidence in trash cans. But based on this surveillance video, his visit here appears to be short, and police determined he did not throw anything away.
Okay, well, that's not. This was, I think, the same day, and I think that maybe it was very shortly after. I wish I could find it. Does anybody remember this? It was a video that showed his car going around the parking lot, like around another row of cars, and it like circled a few times. I know I'm not making it up. I remember this. Why can't I? Is this it? Yes, this is it. Let's hold on. I gotta share it again. Hold on.
challenger.
Okay, let's start this over. This is what I was trying to find, and I'm curious to know if they state the time frame. I was trying to find this because I was curious to know when this video was taken in comparison to this whole Dairy Queen thing and the whole now like restaurant thing 3 hours away. So
Charlie Kirk, we have new footage of the day of the event. I think they're taking us on a wild goose chase or something, because we have at the very top of the video, you can see his Challenger. They have this Lexus right here. You can see the Lexus pulls around and then it goes and it does a U-turn over here off camera, and then it pulls up behind the Charger or Challenger, whatever it is, and then they both pull off together. So it would seem if this is his car, he would have some sort of accomplice. It seems like they keep trying to get us to focus on Tyler. Here he is pulling into this gas station right here. This is the day after. You can see him right there. He's
okay, well I saw that it was sorry. Oh my gosh.
Charlie Kirk, we have new footage of the day of the event. I think they're taking
that it says that it was I just wish it said the time, right? Like that's what I want to see is if it has the time frame on when this was taken so that we could compare it. I'm going to see if I can find some more on that after. Okay. Let's see what else she has to say here.
And so what they did was the right thing. They contacted the feds. Now, that's interesting because I would imagine that after 33 hours, when they sort of gloriously come out and yeehaw, we got him, I would have, and call me crazy, I don't know how this stuff works. I'm not an expert, right? We're not experts, but I would imagine the first thing that they would do is that they would probably just try to figure out where he'd been. And maybe one way they would do that would be going through his credit card charges. I would imagine the federal government had that capability. But they didn't do that. Instead, they were contacted days later by this restaurant. The server filed a report responsibly and said, yeah, he was here. We have the literal receipt, And they explained that Tyler Robinson was not very talkative. He seemed absolutely fine and normal and was texting on his phone. Maybe that's when he was sending more messages to his lover as he was eating a steak. He was sure hungry, is what I would say, but calm nonetheless. He didn't have the jitters. He wasn't scared. He was just hungry. Now, what's fascinating to me is what happens after, because again, I'm expecting that the feds would go, well, let us get down there. Let us get down to Panguitch. Let us start interviewing everybody. Let's start checking all these cameras around here to see if we've got them. No, that's all they did.
So this just brings me right back to what I've said before, which is when everybody wants to complain that people are constantly talking about this and to let people do their job, they're not doing it. They're not fucking doing it, okay? They're not checking up on clear, obvious leads, and that's a problem because they're acting as if it's solved and there's a lot of loose ends. So that's that. I still wish I could find out when that video from the parking lot took place. If anybody has information or can find like the original on that, let me know. Okay, I wanted to go next to another moment here. Let me get it queued up here. All right.
That we all saw that was circulated online. Now, I'm going to add here that another person who I do not trust at all for many reasons, because one of them being he's a sexual deviant. He's also been indicted for crimes by the state of Arizona, federal crimes for which he was recently pardoned by President Donald Trump. I think it's fair to assume that a person who commits crimes in the past might commit crimes in the future, or I guess allegedly committed crimes. I think those court cases are still moving through. I think that's a perfectly logical assumption that a person who's involved in doing the wrong thing might keep it up. A person that seems motivated by money, a person who factually was in debt and was having his payments garnished at Turning Point USA, who then blinks and becomes a millionaire working for a charity, might be a little bit.
That alone is wild. Like, if you've gotten so far into debt that your wages are being garnished, like, that's the most severe delinquency you can get, right? It takes a lot to get to that point. And now he has millions of dollars working for, you know, a nonprofit, right? Is TPUSA a nonprofit? I believe it is. I could be wrong. I think it is. Anyway, seems a bit suspicious. By the way, she's talking about Tyler Bowyer. She's talking about the connection between Terrell Farnsworth and Tyler Bowyer. So that's what she's discussing here.
Shady. I think Tyler Bowyer, it is a logical conclusion that he is at best a very shady character. I'm going to stand by that. 10 toes down. Now, because I was hyper-fixed on Tyler Bowyer, I decided to ask Erika in person during our sit down how she met Tyler. It was actually, I had 3 questions when I went in there that I wanted to get the answer to. That was actually my number 1 question, because I don't know much about the story of how Tyler met Charlie Kirk. And I now desperately wish, but I remember that I could remember what Charlie told me about that. How did they get linked up? And I felt that me asking Erika that question, she might be able to provide a lot of insight to who Tyler Bowyer was during the time he was with Charlie Kirk, why, maybe even before he was with Charlie Kirk, and why he got involved with Charlie Kirk. And of course, as we know, Erika knew Tyler for years before her and Charlie began dating, right? Both she and Tyler had been honest about that fact, particularly citing Trump's 2015 presidential rally as an event where the two of them attended together, right? Standing behind Donald Trump in Arizona at his 2015 July rally, which I should mention also her mother, Lori Francevy, is in the background. So the 3 of them have known each other since at least July 2015 publicly. So I asked Erika how she met him. Her answer was that she met him at the 2015 rally because they were both standing behind Trump. And I immediately corrected her. I said, that's not possible. It's not possible because Tyler discussed knowing you already at the, if we're calling it funeral rally, I don't even know if that's kind of what it was, like a funeral political rally. Tyler got on stage and he told the audience that Erika had called him asking how she could get involved, and that he then made a decision to put her behind Donald Trump. Here is Tyler making that statement in his own words at Charlie Kirk's memorial.
At his wedding, I told the story of talking Charlie into moving to Arizona. He was an adamant Chicago boy. I needed to break that. Selfishly, I wanted him to love Arizona because I had recently convinced him to move Turning Point USA to Arizona. It was a hard sell at first, and that was until I hosted the first Trump rally in Trump rally history right here in Arizona in 2015. I got a call. I got a call from Miss Erika Kirk, Miss Arizona 2012. I just want to help, she said. So naturally, I put her right behind the president at that first rally.
All right. So this bothers me, right? And there's a lot of things about Erika Kirk that bother me at this point. What I think, here's what I assume is going to be said in regards to that conversation between Candace and Erika. If Erika now, if she wanted to approach it in a way that was logical from like her standpoint, right? I would assume what she would then clarify would be, well, I met him in person for the first time at the event, but I spoke to him on the phone prior to it. That would be what I would assume if she was going to come out and say, no, I didn't actually know him personally, and that's what I meant. We'll see if that's what happens, because at this point, the information that they've been providing to clarify other bits of information they're just so ridiculous that it's at a point where I don't know if they just think we're stupid or if they're stupid. Like, are they just this stupid? But they can't be, right? Like, these people run massive businesses that are successful. They can't possibly be this stupid, because you must know that Candace is doing her research beforehand. Like, to be caught in something like that is just silly. I suppose she could definitely come out and say that she met him in person for the first time at that event. But the other issue that I didn't get to pull up, I missed it when I was just skipping forward here. Candace brings up, if you recall, during her break, she had been trying to get clarification on Erika's whereabouts, her alibi, on the 8th, on the evening of the 8th, when Mitch claims to have seen her at the hotel near Fort Huachuca. And Erika had provided to the source that Candace is going through a screenshot of a conversation supposedly between her and Charlie, essentially to prove that she was at home and had been preparing dinner and whatnot. So the text was essentially like Charlie saying, "I just pulled in," and Erika saying, "Great, dinner's on the table," that sort of a thing. So if all of that checked out, it would probably be safe to say that Erika was at home preparing dinner for Charlie, right? And so when she received that screenshot initially, the contact name at the top was blacked out. They had redacted it, right? And obviously that makes no sense. So Candace said, "Well, I can't know that this is a conversation between Erika and Charlie because I can't see who the contact is. Like, this could literally be a screenshot from anyone's phone." So she had asked for them to clarify. They had said essentially that she had blocked out the name because it was like her pet name for Charlie. Again, this is making people sound so stupid. So she could have easily just changed the contact name in the phone or just showed the phone number. Like, you don't have to have it in there. You can edit it and then you can put it back to whatever you want it to be after the fact. So that doesn't make sense. Again, it makes you just sound stupid. Like, you're not smart enough to recognize that I need to see who it's to or from or whatever. So she asked for them to do that, to show the phone number. And she waited days and days and days, and she followed up numerous times. And they finally, I guess, responded to her just the other day. And all they sent was a screenshot of Charlie Kirk's contact information in the phone. What? I'm sorry, but this just makes everyone seem so ridiculously stupid. That does not connect the conversation that you took a screenshot of to the conversation at all. It just says, "Yeah, you have that contact in your phone. Great." And so all of these little bits that they keep, sending out like this just keep digging themselves deeper and deeper. So as much as I would like to think that if Erika truly only met Tyler Bowyer for the first time at this event with Trump, that she would correct it and say, "Well, I spoke with him, but it was the first time I met him in person," I would say that's probably okay. I could accept that. But at this point, I don't even know. I feel like she'll just come out with something even wilder and dumber sounding because that's all they keep doing. But she does go on further here to talk about how far back Tyler Bowyer and Terrell Farnsworth families have been connected. Like, those two went to high school together. They've known each other forever. And Erika has known them as well. Like, there's ties between Erika's parents and these people for years. I'll play a little bit more of that, but I just don't understand. I genuinely don't understand if these people are just stupid or if they just think we're all so stupid, which is very insulting, that we won't even pick up on this. I don't know. I don't understand. But let's see what else she says in regards to how long these people have all been in contact with each other.
Okay. So she called, she said, "I wanted to help," and he put her behind the president. So I'm sitting with her and she doesn't remember how she met him, but she said that she would look back through old messages because, like me, she never deletes any of her messages. And she thought maybe, specifically, she said that they had a connection in politics via a senator or a congressman. That's what she said. Now, in hindsight, after that meeting, because I have continued to prod the narrative on Terrell and Tyler, I believe that's accurate. I thought, that's interesting. Who were the congressmen? Who were the congressmen that Tyler maybe knew? Well, I should tell you guys that Terrell Farnsworth and Tyler Bowyer go back. They go way back. I'm talking generationally back, okay?
By the way, for any of you who are watching this, if you don't follow everything that Candace puts out, Terrell Farnsworth is the individual who removed the SD card from the camera that was positioned behind Charlie Kirk at the event. So obviously very deeply involved here. Why would you remove that SD card? And then again, everything that TPUSA has had for rebuttals has been this just mishmash of garbage, just whether it's one answer that's then corrected, but in a way that doesn't flow with the initial claim, everything is, and it just feels like they think we're too stupid to figure it out. Or like I said, they're just a bunch of idiots. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Let's see.
Terrell Farnsworth's parents went to high school with Tyler Bowyer's parents. They're all from Chandler, Arizona. And then Tyler Bowyer and Terrell Farnsworth went to high school together. They graduated, it looks like 2 years apart from Gilbert High School. So these two are thicker than thieves. They are overtly political, obviously. In fact, at that very same Trump rally in 2015, Tyler Bowyer introduces himself as the youngest chairman of the Republican Party. He's very involved in Arizona politics. And like he said, he's telling the truth. He was the reason that Charlie decided to put Turning Point USA's campus in Arizona. Charlie's from Chicago, right? That's where they first started Turning Point USA, in Chicago. Tyler has been driving this bus. And
if I want to be all conspiracy theorist on this, the deeper connections that continue to come out between Erika and her family and all of these people in TPUSA and them trying to get Charlie to come out to Arizona, I don't know, guys. If I wanted to be a wild, crazy person, and this is all obviously I'm not making any claims, but does it not start to feel like this was just a plan from a while ago? We got to get him out here. We got to put her in this position so that they're near each other. We got to get her to apply for a job, even though she has a successful business. I don't understand. It makes me wonder as well, if prior to the interview he had with Erika Kirk, where he was supposed to be interviewing her for some position that she probably was technically overqualified for, given the fact that she's successfully running a business. If doesn't it make you wish you could be a fly on the wall prior to his interview? And if people were feeding him stuff I don't know, she's pretty cute, you might not want to hire her, you might want to try to ask her out or something, I don't know, planting little bugs in his ear. It just feels like there is way too many things that were set up. Let's get him out to Arizona, let's introduce him to her, let's have her come to this rally and insert her here. And I don't know. I mean, I get it. I'm not trying to accuse anyone of anything. I just feel like there's so many little bits and pieces that just oddly fit together. And it does make you question how long certain things have been planned. If you watch, I was just watching a little bit of Nate from Valhalla VFT the other day, where he was talking about the Venezuelan stuff that I'm going to touch on a little bit later, but and how this stuff is planned for years and years and years. So it really does make you wonder if and maybe the end game changed over time. Maybe the goal was get him here, open a chapter here, introduce him to someone else who's prominent, like Erika, and try to coordinate this whole thing so that down the road they can become president and first lady. You know what I'm saying? But then his positions changed on things, so they had to go in a different direction. I know this sounds crazy, but is it completely? I don't know. I don't know.
Like I said, hiring the people around Charlie Kirk. Except for me, that really just I was the anomaly. We really just met, and I wonder if it would have happened if Tyler was there. Anyways, the point here is that Tyler Bowyer was very well acquainted, obviously, with Terrell on a familial basis.
Hold on, guys. Sorry, I'm having issues. Let me just make sure this will work fine. If anybody's in here, can you tell me if you can see my screen? Apparently it went black, so I'm just trying to make sure I can help. Everything looks fine on my end. Can you guys see me and hear me? All right, let's see. Let me try and share again. Tell me if you can see it when I do. You can hear me though, right?
And he
It does.
was
It looks like
very
it's going
close
black.
with
I don't
Terrell's
know
family,
what.
particularly Terrell's
Has it been that way
uncles
the whole
and
time?
cousins.
All right, so I know you can hear me. I know you can see me if I'm not sharing the screen. So I don't know why it's not working to share the screen. Could you see it before? Like, were you able to see the shared screen a few minutes ago? Okay. Let me try and share. I'm going to try and share a different screen really quick. Let's go back to this one. Okay, I'm going to share a different screen. Let me know if you can see it. And then I'll try and get back on track here. Let's see. This is like the first time I've tried to do this through YouTube and not through the streaming platform I usually use. So let's see. Let's go. All right. Can you see the screen that I've shared now? You might have to like go to like be live on so that you can see where I'm currently at. I just want to make sure it's working. Okay. So I wonder what happened with that one. All right. Well, no big deal. I didn't have a ton left on the Candace bit there. I did want to touch on what she had talked about a little bit yesterday, which was the Charlie's neck stopped the bullet information that everybody has been ragging on Andrew about, because he's the one who kind of presented this information that he was like Superman, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, this information actually came from Erika, which also just plays into like, who's this stupid? I know this sounds so mean, but if I don't know a single person who would come from a situation that is a clearly extremely severe and serious murder investigation and think that you can just spew out any old information. You just can't do it. You know, like what happened to the like you have the right to remain silent because anything will be used against you. So now we know that Erika Kirk is the one who told Andrew that the doctor said that Charlie's neck stopped this 30-06 bullet. She's not doing herself any favors here. I don't know. I would love to know what everybody thinks at this point. I feel like I should probably just start like a running list of like I know we have lies like maybe broken down by like individual, like this individual's given us all of these lies and then they've tried to correct it with an additional lie and so on and so forth. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's wild. Essentially, Tyler Bowyer and all of them have known each other for years before any of them knew Charlie Kirk. And so to act as if there was never a connection between Erika prior to that particular day seems a little far-fetched. Next, and I hope that this one will share. So I'm going to share. If it doesn't show the screen, please tell me. But I wanted to share a bit from Ian Carroll and Baron Coleman's live last night. And I did want to try to find as well. There was another video also that I wanted to try to find. I can try and do that while we're here. But he shares a clip, and this is from like a view that I hadn't seen until last night of, I'm calling it like shrapnel because we don't really know what actually killed Charlie at this point, flying through the air. It's very slowed down and he'll explain it in the video clip. I hope it doesn't go black like I'm going to actually cross out a few of these pages here so that maybe that doesn't slow things down. But I wanted to share this because I think it's important. Maybe someone out there will be able to tell what it is and have some input on it. If you didn't watch this, I definitely recommend watching this. It wasn't extensively long. The stream itself, I think, was probably pretty long on Baron's side because he kept going after Ian had to leave. I think their portion together was about an hour and a half. But they do have some really great information they share. So let's hope this works. Let me know if for some reason you can't see it. I'm going to pop it. I was able to see it go black before, so hopefully it's not. It looks okay now on my end. But let's go ahead and play this here.
Talking more about accurate energetics, let's talk about let's just play this clip that I pulled out. I want to share just the exact video because we pulled a video out so that Charlie's not in the video. There is a thing that seems to drop from the sky behind Charlie right after the shot is fired, like 1 second after the shot is fired. And it's been a bit of a mystery all along because it looks like something falls from the top of the tent like right before Charlie's even fallen over, before anything's happened. And I've been wondering this the whole time. I just loaded into the bottom there, Baron.
Okay, I was gonna say, why am I not seeing it? But that's why.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't know who remembers, but I recall, is it black again? I feel like it went black again. Did it go black again? It's really frustrating if it is. Because when I go back to I can see it looks black. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see if I share it in a different way. No. Oh, it's good. Okay, it's weird because when I click between the two, like if I toggle between my live stream page and like theirs, it ends up looking black for a second, and I assumed it was in correlation with it not working on your end. All right, well, working. But what I was going to say is I don't know if anybody remembers, but there was a video going around shortly after, maybe within like the first month, that was showing some sort of people were assuming it was like a shell casing or something from a bullet, but coming from like behind Charlie because it came from behind his head. And then you could see it then pass like between his legs, almost like between his knees. And it was slowed down. And I recall watching that. So I kind of want to see if we can find that video to compare it to the one that he's showing here, because this is a different angle. So let's see.
Yeah. And so what I did is I cut this so that Charlie's not in the frame, and I actually took out the audio too, just in case YouTube is being really paranoid. But I put in title cues for when the gunshot sounds happened. And I also put in cues for what frame rate, like what speed we're watching this at. So watch it at 4x speed, and then it slows down to 1/10 speed, and then it slows down to 1/20 speed. So we can see this thing. It's only in 3 frames of this video, I'm pretty sure, maybe 4.
Actually,
so it's at 1/4 speed. Charlie's head is right down here
same
beneath.
with the other one. I think it was 3 frames or something, if I recall, when they were slowing down. I wish I could remember who it was. I'm gonna have to look it up after. Um, I recall it being like 3 frames as well, where they had like 1 up top near his head, and then you couldn't see it in the next frame because it was behind Charlie maybe, or through Charlie. Like, the assumption was that it was what actually hit Charlie's neck, and then you could see it in 2 additional frames after, so the frames match up in that sense. All right, let's go.
And the gunshot just sounded, and then a thing falls right here. Right there. A little piece of something. 1/10th speed, and this is at 1/20th speed. Okay? And it's, maybe it's a bug. Maybe it's a giant
That would be like the
cockroach
fastest bug alive.
that flies over Charlie Kirk's head in September in Utah 1 second after the gunshot sound rings out. But that seems like a crazy coincidence to me. So just to clarify the frame direction that's happening here, this is the first frame in this video that I can see it in. I've seen it in a couple of the videos. This is the best one that I could find today to pull it from. This frame, it's unclear if it's going up or down, but the next frame in the line is this. And then the next frame is this.
That one I think is so interesting because it really does look like, I don't know, it really does look like a bullet, but the other ones have like this extra, I don't even know. It's very interesting.
And then it falls out of frame.
So
and, yeah, tell me what you're thinking, Bear.
Well, so I watched this, and to begin with, when you watch it in normal speed, bugs don't move that way. They don't move that fast. They don't change directions on a dime. This thing, you're talking 1/20th speed, and you're hitting frame by frame. A bug moving this far in one frame is 1/20th of a second. No bug flies that fast. Yeah. So that's not a bug.
Yeah.
There's a 0% chance it's a bug. Initially, people were saying perhaps it was a bullet shell because he was shot from behind.
Yeah, people were saying that it was a bullet shell that fell out of the camera, right? Because the camera was a gun, right? Which is like, yeah, maybe a stretch. But it's certainly, it looks like something falling from the ceiling of the tent. But what at least I had not yet thought of, is maybe it's something that exploded upwards out of Charlie's shirt and hit the top of the tent and then fell. And it happens about 1 second after the gunshot sound rings out, which in my mind is about the time it would take for something to fly up extremely fast, hit the bounce of the tent.
Did we see it go up? I feel like we only see it coming down though, right?
Canopy, and then fall down at a regular speed.
So you and I speculated today, actually you speculated, and I think I agree with it, that it looks on its face like something hit the top of the tent, the metal of the tent, a piece
Actually, yeah, right?
Yeah, it might be hitting this bar
like bouncing.
here and bouncing off that. Or it might, I'm undecided. Maybe it's something that goes all the way up to the roof of like the canopy of the tent, bounces off that really fast. And then the very next frame, we already see it falling down. It's hard to say, but it kind of looks like it deflects right here, right? From there to there.
And if you've ever thrown like a pizza box or something, the little circles that come on a pizza box and they spin because they're flat and the air acts on it.
That's a good point, because if you guys haven't watched like their theory on the exploding mic, I was not for this. I thought it seemed a bit much. I mean, I wouldn't put it past certain individuals to utilize small electronics as explosives. But at first I just thought like, no, I don't think that, that seems like a stretch. But then there's more stuff coming out where supposedly there's word that Charlie had like a really serious chest wound, and that maybe the idea is that the mic was the weapon and they didn't anticipate like shrapnel to come from the mic, which is what we actually saw. And that essentially they were trying to keep it contained in his chest area so they could just kind of utilize that and not have to have, now they're kind of scrambling, right, to like find other reasons why we saw what we saw. And essentially that's kind of what they're saying, like, is this like shrapnel? And obviously if it was, it could be flat pieces like Barron's talking about that were flying. And this also would tie into like the bits of black potential plastic that was seen in the image from the SUV after the fact too. So I don't know. I don't know how much more they have here, but I'm going to go back to it just a second.
And it clearly has different dimensions. We're seeing kind of side on, kind of more flat on.
Mm-hmm.
But see, this is a piece of physical evidence, and maybe it's an aberration of camera, but I kind of doubt that. I would love to hear someone's argument for that. Maybe it's a bug. I highly doubt that. Maybe it's some advanced DARPA drone. I don't think so. I think the far more likely explanation that it's a piece of ADS-B plastic from some of the one component of something that exploded somewhere down below.
I think I tend to agree with you. It's black, it's fragmented, and it looks to me like a large piece of what we see as debris on the floor of the SUV that Candace showed in the picture.
And it's also worth noting that it's not this black piece of the actual tent. It is not that, and that piece does not move as this other piece comes in and comes near it, and kind of like, not really sure what the white is going on in that frame, but that other thing
That's what I was
stays
saying.
down
It seems
the whole time.
weird.
I think it's light. It's just light hitting it.
Yeah,
So
Like it almost looks like when something's going through water and like it's leaving that sort of air bubble behind it.
thing that John Bray pointed out to me today, actually. And John Bray's done yeoman's work on this microphone theory. But what he pointed out to me is the Road Go 2 actually has a glassy cover over one side. And so what you may be seeing on that, what you said looked white, is light fragmenting also, or light reflecting also off of that fragmented plastic, because it has sort of a glassy cover on one side.
Yeah,
The newer Road 3 doesn't have that.
Because this is a piece of what I mean to say is this is a piece of physical evidence that is captured on film on multiple cameras, and it needs an explanation.
Well,
and a gunshot does not.
It's probably been paved over, so it's probably been paved over, so we'll never know, because in a very Mormon, very religious state, they went ahead and sent people out to pave over a very, very serious crime scene on a Sunday just a couple days after. Makes sense. Why doesn't anyone address anything? Because they have terrible excuses.
Explain this.
No.
At all. This has
No.
nothing to do with a gunshot. And so this is just one piece of many pieces of evidence that goes with the evidence in the car of what looks like fragmented plastic on the floor of the car. It goes with the puffing of the shirt, which pulls Charlie's shirt up in like 1/30th of a second, more or less, in front of his face, with gases appearing to come out. Maybe it's aberration, but I think we're all on the same page that things are starting to add up to be more in line with some sort of explosive charge or some other device rather than a gunshot.
So I want to pull up, since we're talking explosives, a lot of people may not know, about a month to the day, give or take, after Charlie Kirk was, after the big bang in Orem, Utah, where Charlie Kirk was taken down at the tender age of 31. A munitions plant in Tennessee blew up. And when I say blew up, I don't mean it caught fire and sparkled like Erika Kirk coming on stage. I mean it like ceases to exist.
Yeah.
Like my house
blew a hole in the ground.
Yeah, my house is 60 miles away. People in our neighborhood felt it. It's a massive facility, a massive explosion. And you pulled some information on this. I will pull some of these up one at a time. Tell us what it is you see in page on AES. Exploded. Tell us why you think this might be something we should be looking at.
So you'll notice, first off, though, you'll notice that page right there actually is not the original web page. That page is a archive.org page, right?
That's
because Barron, if you switch to showing my screen at the bottom real quick.
Oh, please.
What my screen shows is what you would actually find if you went to this web page today, right now.
Oh my gosh, really?
The page no longer exists.
No.
And maybe Accurate Energetics is under investigation. Maybe they are rightfully concerned about their public image and what's going on. But right now, this page does not exist. So you got to go to the archive and way back their page. And that is what Barron is looking at. And I found this page in particular, Barron, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, the very, very bottom of this page. I mean, they do have a lot of stuff. So scroll up just a little bit. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself saying the bottom. Scroll up to the next red section. In this red section right there.
What does it after a certain amount of time? All right. I was trying to look while they were chatting. I thought I heard something. I don't know if anybody remembers. I thought I had heard something about accurate energetics and how was it like shortly before or shortly after the Charlie Kirk situation that there was like new management or something? Does anybody remember? I'm just looking really quick. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to share this screen. Hopefully it will work. I just want to take a look at a few things because I thought for sure.
The latest on the deadly plant explosion in Hickman County. For the first time, we are hearing from an employee at AES. As our Jordan James reports, that woman is hesitant to go back to work.
A few days following the explosion here in Humphreys County, an employee is reflecting on the tragedy, which has put their life on hold.
It's rough. It's definitely rough.
A reality that consumes Jade Began's life.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
16 of her colleagues were killed in the explosion at Accurate Energetic Systems last week.
I knew quite a bit of them. You know, I've only been there for 3 months, but they, you know, you get a work family. And you grow to know these people.
Began tells me she makes commercial explosions.
I thought I had seen something. Hold on, I'm going to keep looking here. I don't know if anybody remembers hearing anything like that. I swear I heard something about it, which made me perk up a little bit after they started talking about this like plastic situation. It's definitely one way to get rid of evidence when you have a huge company like that and a lot of people with their, you know, lots of eyes. And it's definitely a good way to silence people who may have something to say after the fact. All right. I don't know why it goes black after I'm sharing. I don't know. I apologize. It's all right. It won't be in there when I edit and everything, but I'll have to keep digging on that. I swear I thought for sure that there was some kind of new management situation. I could be wrong. All right. Let's see. There's a few other things I wanted to touch base on. Let me look at my notes here. I definitely think that this is another avenue that could be, you know, very investigated. I could probably spend a lot of time digging into that explosion. And it does make me wonder if over time, if any individuals are going to start to come out and have things they want to talk about. We'll see. But obviously, if you do think that something was going on and your building got blown up like that, I think that if you had any inkling that it had to do with that, you probably are going to be pretty quiet. You're probably not going to want to say a whole lot. I wanted to also talk about I just saw a pop-up from Jesse on Fire that I definitely want to watch. I'm obviously covering this Charlie Kirk situation, but I'm planning on covering other things as well. But one of the things that I find interesting is you know, aliens and all this stuff. And Jesse on Fire just posted a video I'll have to check out after. It says US government admits to hybrid alien humans in America, which if you're someone who follows that category of information, you've heard this a lot anyway, but I'll be curious to see what he's referring to. Maybe I'll do something on that after this. Definitely interesting. Okay, so I just got a text that they did have a new contract or something in June. So yeah, shortly before. I mean, there was also Barron went on to say, and I'm not going to pull it up because it keeps giving me a hard time, but Barron went on to say something as well about an order or a shipment or something that they had gotten in, and it was like very small. Um I wish it wasn't giving me a hard time because I don't dare like have it pull up or it's just going to be a pain in the butt. Something about it being like a very small amount of something in particular, um, that would be used in something like a lapel mic that they're questioning. So again, if you haven't watched that episode with Baron and Ian, absolutely highly urge you to. It's definitely worth watching. There's a lot of good information in there. Moving on to a different topic, I wanted to pull up. I'm gonna search for it here anyway. Let me see here. For those of you who have been keeping up with our favorite allies, or as Coach Colin refers to them, Philadelphia. If you pay attention, you probably have been aware that Bibi Netanyahu has been going through a trial under investigation for all kinds of stuff in Israel. He is not their favorite person over there. And the judge that was presiding over the Bibi Netanyahu corruption case, I'm going to pull this up. Hopefully it won't go black on me, was recently killed. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going, "You're crazy. It was just a car accident," which it was a car accident. But it says that the judge presiding over Bibi Netanyahu's corruption case was killed in a traffic accident when a vehicle struck his motorcycle. However, what I read was police said the vehicle had been driving off-road. So it was driving off-road, entered the highway, and collided with his motorcycle. So this was not just a typical accident. This is an accident where a vehicle came from not on the road and struck his motorcycle, killing him. Can we make this up? When does this happen to any person ever in the world in general? And then it's going to happen to this individual. Also, bear in mind that Bibi Netanyahu was here visiting our country 2 days before we went into Venezuela and kidnapped Maduro. Speaking of, I was watching a video as well this morning. Now, I don't have a whole lot I feel confident talking about in regards to the Venezuelan situation. I thought I had a pretty solid understanding. I thought that my general assumption was they're telling us this is over drugs. I don't believe it's over drugs. I think it's clearly over oil. And then I've heard a few things since then. I've heard that the dollar collapsed and that technically we went in there to steal this oil because no one would sell us oil because our dollar was not worth anything and they wouldn't take it. So I heard that. And then I stumbled across a video this morning that I watched. Let me see. I can find it here and hopefully it'll let me share most of it, but or I don't have to share the whole thing as long. I urge you to watch it, but it does make me wonder what people's opinions are on this because for me, I also heard that obviously regime change was being discussed. I heard that the individual they want to put in here is someone who recently was in Israel, kissing the wall. You go from there. And that I'm sorry, Philadelphia. But I heard that, essentially they're putting in a person they want, right? That's what this sounded like. Multiple things at once, right? We need oil and then regime change. And you'll be told that all of the people in Venezuela, of course, are celebrating because Maduro was a dictator. They didn't want him there. This was the part of the story that we've been told that I believed, right? I believed that the Venezuelan people were at least hopeful that this would benefit them in the long run. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, they took Maduro out. People are probably feeling a relief from that. But at the same time, what's to come next? Is it really going to be a relief, or is it just going to be more garbage in a different skin suit, right? But then I stumbled across this journalist from Venezuela who's basically saying the complete opposite. Like, she's saying that the Venezuelan people were not happy necessarily. Yeah, sure, there's some people that are, but that no one was in the streets celebrating, that this was not happening, that it's been very quiet since, and that they are taking this as Maduro and his wife have been kidnapped, that it's a war crime, and that they want him back, that they still have their vice president there, that they don't need another person put in place. I don't know. I mean, at this point, obviously, anyone could be saying anything to try and feed us whatever they want us to believe. But this is the first time I've heard someone saying essentially the complete opposite. And I mean, what are we to believe? We could be shown any information under the sun, and there's no way for us to know what's right and what's wrong. I didn't really queue up any particular moments here. Try and like skim through it here. Um, hold on. Let me just start it over here and I'll share, and hopefully it will last more than a minute. I think if I pause and toggle, maybe that'll work. So keep me informed if it goes black again.
Would happen. And now we want President Maduro back. And now we want to affirm that even though you kidnapped President Maduro, it doesn't mean that the Bolivarian Revolution is over.
She obviously has
Tell us about what
a
is
very
happening,
heavy
because
accent, so it's a little bit hard to understand everything she's saying. Um, I definitely urge you to look up this YouTube channel, Katie Halper, and watch it in its entirety.
obviously, as I just mentioned earlier, Western media is not very reliable in general. It certainly isn't reliable when it comes to Venezuela. So what is happening? Like, what happened during the attack? How did you experience it? Did you wake up to it?
Also, curious if anybody does know any information about Katie Halper. Is she Venezuelan? She clearly has an accent. I don't know if she's located here in the US. I've not watched anything of hers until this video. So, but it's very interesting.
So yes, just to give you like a timeline of the things that happened, basically at around 2 a.m. in the morning, I woke up with the sound, with this tremendous loud explosion sound. Of course, I have no idea what was happening. It felt like an earthquake, like maybe the sky was falling down. I immediately got up, immediately went to the window. I could hear the explosions, I could hear the planes flying, but I couldn't actually see them. But I knew they were close, and I knew that something bad was happening because the sound was like something like I've never heard before. Immediately, friends and family began calling me. We began exchanging messages and phone calls, just trying to understand what was happening. We all knew.
And I don't know if this individual, I should try and see if she has like her own channel. I don't actually know. Does she state on here? I don't know if she is a reporter over there or if she's just, just someone who agreed to be interviewed. I'm not really sure. I might try and look her up after. Let me just see. I wanted to see if there were specific. Oh, a criminal imperialist. We'll watch this first section and then I might
Knew that
skip
this was something
here.
bad. There was a part of me that already knew that this was most likely a U.S. military aggression, but of course we needed to remain calm, so I just tried to wait until there was absolute confirmation. In the meanwhile, I was videos and photos on social media of people like me who woke up to this loud sounds, and they looked out the window and they saw that there were explosions around where they lived.
So she's just kind of describing what happened here. I really want to see what let me see here. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't believe the drug thing anyway. For me, that was not something I believed. I thought it was about oil the whole time.
None of that. We all know that the United States has built this fantasy narrative that the Venezuelan government is somehow behind this huge narco-trafficking organization, with absolutely no proof about that, no evidence about that. They have been using that narrative to kill civilian people on small boats in the Caribbean for 4 months. And now they're using the same narrative to kidnap a elected president and to bomb civilian populations in Venezuela.
Did you guys see too? I had seen another video, I think it was yesterday, that was talking about another oil tanker or something that was trying to evade our US attempts at taking them over, and that they had, like, I think escaped to like Russia or something. Like we're plastering their ship with like Russian flags or something to try to evade our capture. And this was like months prior, maybe like 6 months ago. That I felt like that was kind of interesting.
Caracas wasn't the only place that was attacked. There were also strikes in different states, Miranda, Aragua, La Guaira. We have been seeing videos and images on social media of people who witnessed these attacks. So we know that there were actually some really harm to the civilian population. After all of that, when we had confirmation that we were on the U.S. military attack, when we had confirmation that President Maduro had been kidnapped, of course, the next stage was we need to go to the streets. So that's what we did. Right in the morning, when around 9 a.m., we started sort of exchanging messages. Okay, so where do we go? Of course, we have to go to Miraflores. We have to go to the presidential palace. And that's what we did. We went there. Of course, the city was very militarized. There was a lot of people who were just kind of...
I wanted to take a look. I hate to keep pausing and hopping around, but I think if I don't, it's when it's going to go like black on me, and I don't want it to keep doing that. Obviously, I think it's safe to say that we were going to take the oil. I think that was one of the main goals. Curious about what she's saying here.
They were in the streets. They were just... these signs were something that happened very sporadically in the moment. People decided, okay, we need to make signs. We need to write something down. So people were handing around these cartulinas. Spontaneously, these cartulinas, and they were just making these messages, basically saying, we want President Maduro back. President Maduro continues to be our president. The revolution hasn't died. The revolution continues. Just affirming this. Sending these messages out there saying that we're not giving up.
I find that incredibly interesting that she's claiming they're saying they wanted President Maduro back. Like, if we're talking about this awful dictator, which to me, I assume that was the accurate part of everything, tell us a lie with truth, weaved in there. And so the truth, I thought, was that they didn't want him there. And so this is making me question whether or not that is actually true. I don't know. I don't know what this actually says. Let's keep watching for another minute.
Not giving up. Moments like this, we have to understand that this is such a new experience. We have never been through something like this. Venezuela has been through so many terrible circumstances. We have been under U.S. sanctions for a decade. We have been through devastating humanitarian consequences because of U.S. sanctions. We have resisted so much. We have faced so many coups, so many coup attempts of mercenary invasions. But this is something that, of course, we haven't experienced so far. We have been announcing that this was going to happen. There was a UN emergency meeting that Venezuela called, and not so recently, in which the Venezuelan ambassador, Samuel Moncada, he said it right there in front of all of these countries. He said, the U.S. is preparing to invade Venezuela. The United States is preparing to do something.
I mean, we all knew that, right? Like, we were all calling that too. We knew it was going to happen long before. I figured they were going to announce that day Trump went live, but he didn't actually say anything about it. Um, yeah, I mean, I just got a message saying she could be paid. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, right? How do we know who's not being paid? You know, it is what it is. You got to just kind of take what you can get and dig in and see what you think. I have no idea, you know. Again, like I said, I've not personally dug into any of this too much. And my perspective before this was that it was just about the oil or regime change. So seeing this bit here has kind of opened like a new little avenue for me to kind of dig into. I'm not sure. I know right here she speaks about their government and that they still have an active government because she's talking about how they're talking about putting someone in the interim, but she's like, we have a vice president. Like, we don't need another person.
Press conference.
We still have a Venezuelan government. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is in power right now. She gave a press conference earlier today. She was alongside the entire military officers and other Venezuelan officials. And she was saying that we are still here. We are resisting. We are maintaining operations. We are declaring a state of commotion in Venezuela. We are going to give a balance very soon about the casualties of the U.S. bombings.
Yeah.
So there's no vacuum of power. There's no such thing. The U.S. has been claiming that they are negotiating with Delcy Rodriguez. They first said that she had already fled to Russia. Then they said that they were negotiating with her. And she very clearly stated, I'm not negotiating with anybody. I am here.
Right.
I am with the Venezuelan people. We are calling the Venezuelan people to resist. And we're asking, demanding that President Maduro is returned back safe.
This is like one of those situations where I really would love to be able to see what another country sees in the way of like news on their end versus what we get. Obviously, it's vastly different. And obviously that's intentional, but I do find it interesting. I don't know. I'd love your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on all of this. I'm at a point where I'm just seeing everything from this super high level and who's involved and who's moving these pawns around, and it always seems to come back to the same individuals. So I think that's going to do it for now. Where my screen's being kind of quirky, I don't want to risk it, you know, continuing to do that. I'm going to try to dig into why that's happening. I'll cut this up into little bits so that I can have videos that everybody can watch. You don't have to watch the whole live stream. And I'm going to watch that Jesse on Fire video. So I might be back on in a little bit. Maybe I'll just make it into a regular video and go from there. If anybody's interested in other stuff other than this, if you're interested in that sort of little bit off the topic of, you know, politics and government, but this whole UFO, which could be tied into the government, but if you're into that, let me know, because I love that stuff too, and I want to cater to the people. So let me know what you enjoy seeing and talking about, and we'll go from there. All right. I hope everybody has a great day, and I will talk to you again in a little bit. Bye.